Prisoners of the Korean War were not treated well at all if they were United Nations forces being captured by the North Koreans or the Chinese. Both the Chinese and the North Koreans did not acknowledge the Geneva Conventions of how you were supposed to treat prisoners of war, meaning that they treated them horribly. If you were a United Nations soldier that was captured by the North Koreans or the Chinese, there was a decent chance you were not going to ever leave that prisoner of war camp. Very similar to how the Japanese treated their POWs, American and other United Nations forces were treated very similarly, except there was a lot more propaganda shoved into it. The Korean War is often called the Forgotten War, and just like the Korean War in general, POWs of the Korean War are oftentimes forgotten with how badly they suffered. And when they eventually were released, many of them never fully recovered. Now, there's a story that I heard about American POWs that they were able to convince their captors to allow them to build a baseball field in their prisoner of war camp. This was done specifically because the American airmen flying over would be able to recognize that that was a POW camp, because the North Koreans and the Chinese would not tell the United Nations forces that it was a prisoner of war camp in hopes that they would in fact bomb their own people. But by being able to build their own baseball diamonds, they were able to easily acknowledge that if there's a baseball diamond somewhere up here in North Korea, that's a prisoner of war camp, because there was no baseball diamonds in North Korea. However, I cannot actually find where I read that story. I remember reading it in a book years ago, and I have not been able to find a good source since then. If you remember where that might be found, let me know in the comments.